Hello, family and friends. My name is David Blackburn, and I'll just cut to the chase and get to it right quick. I'm here to maybe help you with the coronavirus and give you some information that you're not hearing. I have a bachelor's degree in biochemistry with an upper division emphasis in molecular genetics. And as I've been listening to the things said about this virus, it's really been quite perplexing to me, to say the little bit. So I'm going to jump right into it. Back around, I'd say 13 years ago, I read a book by a PhD biochemist, a man by the name of Michael Behe, who had written a book called The Edge of Evolution. And what was interesting is that in this book, he talked about some of the chemicals that they are trying to use on this coronavirus, this hydroxychloroquine and chloroquine. And the interesting thing is you probably heard that these are anti-malarial vaccines, and that's what they use them for. However, just to say quickly, a malaria parasite is very different from a virus. And when they tried these malarial vaccines, they worked for a little while, but then they failed. And the parasite mutated and they no longer worked on them. Now, that's the problem here, is that with this coronavirus, it's a virus. And the one thing viruses do better than anything else is mutate. So I'm suspecting that perhaps these things may work in the beginning, but over time, and I think rather quickly, they're not going to work. You might have also heard that these vaccines, these chloroquine and hydroxychloroquine, are rather toxic. They can be. And that's another concern. So I started doing a little research, and I'm going to let you know what I found. Now, here I have an article that I found on the internet called Coronaviruses, an overview of their replication and pathogenesis. And on page 5 of this article, I want to read you something, and I think it's very important. And I'm going to read you some other things, and you're going to hear this over and over again. So what it says in this one paragraph, it talks about following receptor binding, the virus must next gain access to the host cell cytosol. That's the inside of the cell. This is generally accomplished by acid-dependent proteolytic cleavage of this S protein. Now, that S protein are those mushroom-like projections that you see on the virus. And it talks about there are other proteases that can do this. These S proteins will attach to what they call the receptor binding domain, and then they come together. It also states fusion generally occurs within an acidified endosome. And there are other ways in the coronavirus can do this. But what I want you to notice here is that these viruses need an acidic environment for them to attach to those alveoli, that is the lung tissue, for them to get into your cell and replicate. Now, I want to read you some other things. This is something that is very interesting. It's in my old biochemistry book, Stryer. It's the 3rd edition. Now, I had this book way back in like the late 80s when I took biochemistry. And I think it's important because this is going to tell you something. It says the importance of acidification in this cycle is evidenced by the finding, talking about that this lysosomal targeting is blocked by agents that make sorting vesicles less acidic. And then it talks about a couple of them. Ammonium chloride and chloroquinine, for example, raise the pH of sorting vesicles and lead to the export of these lysozyme enzymes from the cell rather than to lysosomes. So that's very important. You see that if these things are not acidic, they don't go into the lysosomes, they don't go any further into the cell. Instead, they're put out of the cell if they're not acidic enough. Now, here's something else on another page in the book, and it just flat out says it as one of the topics of a section. Many viruses and toxins enter cells by receptor-mediated endocytosis. Okay, but the important thing is those endocytes, they have to be acidic. And here you can see a picture of how the virus particle can enter the cell. And it's basically in this side, an endosome. But the only way it does this is there has to be an acidic or acid environment for it to do that. Once it gets in, if that environment inside is not acid, the virus can't get out. It won't get out. And this thing will basically just cycle back outside the cell. So what is it all saying here? What it's saying is that this coronavirus, it cannot infect your lung tissue unless there is an acid environment. So we should ask a simple question. Well, what's the opposite of an acid environment? And that is an alkaline environment. You have to figure out, well, how can I get an alkaline environment? Folks, this all comes down to what you're taking inside your body. You see, they're trying to use this chloroquine to raise the pH in your body so the virus can't get in. But you see, who wants to take chloroquine that may be very toxic to your body? Because it may raise the pH too high to where now you're in a toxic environment. But you can do things yourself. And some of you may have heard, sure, you got to switch to an alkaline diet. You got to start eating fruits and vegetables that will take the alkalinity of your body up. But you can also do something else, and that is you can drink alkaline water. And I think that's going to turn out to be a big issue here, because I saw all of these people going to the store, and what were they doing? Well, they were all buying acid water, because a lot of this bottled water is acid. Trust me, folks, I took several of them, and I took one of those pool testing kits and I tested them, and a lot of them were alkaline. I mean acid. They were acid waters down around in 6 to some were even at the top of 5. And that's what you don't want to be putting in your body here. So you want to switch to an alkaline diet. And I'm showing you right here a list of the alkaline vegetables. Okay. And one of the things I do, and I've always done, is every week I've got to have me a pot of collard greens. Simple as that. Take some bell peppers, some onions, some garlics. As you can see, all of these are alkaline. make a pot of collard greens, and I eat those. And don't forget to drink the pot liquor, because that's very alkaline. The other thing you can do is, like I said, alkaline water. But make sure you get a good alkaline water. And I'm going to show you one of them right here. This is the one that I use, the Essential. I've tested this myself, and it has consistently given me a pH of about 9 to 9.5. So I take this, and I have some other water that I boiled and, tried to kill all the mess out of, and ran it through a Brita water filter, and then I mix 50-50 with that and this other water, and I drink that. But this coronavirus, as I'm trying to show you and show you in the books where they've done the research, it needs an acid environment to infect you. And that's why we're seeing a difference from individual to individual. And I know people think, well, it all depends on how healthy you are. There are marathoners that have come up with this virus. But when you stop and think about it and ask the question, well, wait a minute. Marathoners and athletes, they go out, they exert themselves, they run, and what builds up in their system? That's right, lactic acid. Their system will go into an acid state. And it doesn't matter how healthy you are, you can get infected with the coronavirus if your body has an acid state. So I've been debating for about a couple of weeks now. I've known this, I've been reading it, but it's like I said, you got to listen to what people say for a while to figure out, okay, what are they doing here? All right, because I know if I know this, they know it also, okay? And you can learn a lot by what people say. But if you know the science, you can also learn a lot by what people aren't saying. And this whole situation looks to me to be a gaining control plus a money-making adventure. You don't think they're going to come out and tell you, well, hey, go drink some some alkaline water and change your diet. They're not going to tell you that. They're going to come up with this vaccine that they're going to want to charge everybody a whole lot of money so that some big pharmaceutical company somewhere can make money. So I just wanted to give you that. You can decide what you want to do. You can also go on the internet and find out all the acid, all the foods that cause acid. And I tell you, you're going to have to cut down on that sugar, because sugar in the form of just sweet things, also rice, potatoes, think about it, noodles, like linguine, pasta, all of those things are nothing more than sugar. And all they're going to do is make your body more acid. So do your research, go online, find out for yourself. But you can take this or leave it. But all I'm doing is putting it out there to give you something to think about, to guide you through this crisis, as they call it. So for now, that's all I got to say. If there's anything else I come up with I want to tell you, I'll let you know. Until then, later.